Good morning, welcome back to the shop. Today we're going to take kind of a different little tact. Instead of building something, we've been doing stuff the past few weeks in arts and crafts type stuff and doing a lot of Greene and Greene stuff, and I've been talking about a lot of Greene and Greene stuff. So I thought I'd give you a little bit of history and backstory on Greene and Greene and how that came about, to give you a better understanding of what the architecture is and what the furniture is and why we do the things we do for the furniture. So the Greene and Greene furniture and decor building style falls under the arts and crafts movement, which is a movement that started in the late 1800s, early 1900s, right around the turn of the century. Started in England. One of the big proponents was a guy by the name of William Morris. You may have heard the term Morris chair before. He's the guy behind that. And it was kind of a pushback against all of the ornamentation, the whole form over function. So the Victorian era, where there was a lot of overly ornamental stuff, a lot of filigree and real detailed, real fancy stuff that didn't always stand the test of time because of how ornate it was and over the top it was. So the arts and crafts movement is kind of a pushback against that. From Morris, it was brought over to America by a gentleman by the name of Gustav Stickley. You can still find Stickley furniture today. It's real. It's very much a function over form with Stickley's furniture. However, it's beautiful in its own way. It's just very simple lines. Pretty much everything's square. It's very rectilinear. There's not a lot of ornamentation other than you'll have the occasional through tenon that's pegged, or it has a key go through it, a piece of wood that locks the mortise and tenon into place, especially with some of their knockdown furniture. Then when we get into the Greene brothers, Charles and Henry Greene, they're a set of brothers that moved to California in the early 1900s and had their own architecture firm. Prior to moving to California, they traveled through the World's Fair in Chicago on their way out, and at the time they were already doing architecture, but traveling through the World's Fair they saw a lot of stuff from China and Japan, and really picked up an Asian influence that you see when you look at their furniture now. A lot like this light fixture that we build here, you can see there's a real Asian influence with the flare to the roof. If you look in Chinatown or places downtown in LA or in other areas, you're going to see those types of flared roofs. So the World's Fair in, I believe it was 1907, is where the Greene brothers really picked up that Asian influence and started to incorporate it into their work. So what they're really known for is their ultimate bungalows. So that's a series of about 5 large bungalows that they built. They built a ton of homes, but the ones they're really known for are the ultimate bungalows. One of those is the Gamble House, which we've mentioned before. And if you don't know the Gamble House, if you've ever seen the movie Back to the Future, the house that Doc lives in, where Marty goes and visits him, that's the Gamble House. They use that for the filming. So, side note, every year they do like a little thing there where people dress up as Marty and bring their DeLoreans and do a little Back to the Future thing at the Gamble House. So that's one of the ultimate bungalows. The other ones that's in Pasadena, California. Also in Pasadena is the Blacker House and the Duncan Irwin House. Those are both ultimate bungalows. There's the Pratt House, which is in Ojai, California, and then the Thorson House, which is in Berkeley. And actually, Berkeley University uses that. One of their fraternity houses actually is the Thorson House. And as part of their deal to use the Thorson House, they do all of the upkeep and keep it up. So of the Greene brothers homes, the ultimate bungalows we're talking about, there's actually 3 of those ultimate bungalows that are on the National Historic Registry, and that's the Gamble House, the Thorson House, and the Blacker House. All 3 of those have been designated as historic places, so they're going to be around for a lifetime. The Gamble House is open to the public for tours. If you've never been, I recommend it. It's an amazing place to see. The other ones, the Blacker House, Duncan Irwin, Pratt House, those are all privately owned. Occasionally there will be like a local neighborhood home tour where they'll be open to the public for a tour, but those are actually pretty few and far between. One other notable Greene and Greene house, if you've ever driven through the coast, up the coastline of California through like Carmel and Big Sur, if you've ever seen a big house that's made all of stone that sits on an outcropping overlooking the ocean, that's the James house. That is also a Greene and Greene home. And I believe that was actually once owned by Brad Pitt, and now is again a private residence. I'm not sure who owns that, but that's up by Pebble Beach in Carmel. So what we're going to do today is, now that we've kind of talked about the where Greene and Greene comes from and some of the influences and stuff, I recently did a complete remodel of our master bath in our home. We gutted it down to the studs and completely redid the bathroom. So we're going to go inside and take a tour of that, and I'll walk you through what we did there. Let's go take a tour. See you inside. All right, so now that we've made it into the house, so this here is the Blacker House mirror. So this mirror is modeled after, it's an exact reproduction of the mirror that was in the Blacker House. The only thing different about this one is that it's mahogany instead of teak. The original was made out of teak. But you can see at the top here we've got some leather straps. It hangs off a rod that I created there at the top so that I could do the leather straps here coming through the mirror. It's slotted for those. That's the way it would have been done originally. However, originally in a lot of the houses of that era, not just arts and crafts, but Victorian homes, the Greene and Greene homes, there would have been what's called a picture rail molding that runs across the top of the room in each room. So this is the Blacker House mirror. So when we get into the bathroom, you're going to see what I modeled our dressing mirror after. So this is the original mirror, the original sizes of the original mirror. So this is what the Blacker House mirror looks like. And again, kind of like last week's videos, you can see all of the ebony plugs that we've done in it that come at all the joints. And again, they're just decorative, but you can see the amount of plugs in it and how that really dresses the piece up and makes it look nicer. So let's go ahead and go in the bathroom and we'll take a look at what's in there. So here we are. This is the master bedroom, master suite. And we recently did a complete remodel of the bedroom, the bathroom, this little foyer area. So originally there were archways in all of these openings, and it was open into the bathroom and the master closet on the other side, which is kind of a mess, so we won't look at that. But this area here was all originally archways, knocked down texture on all the walls. So what we started with was taking all of the knockdown texture off the walls and doing a flat hand-troweled plaster coat on all the walls to give it that arts and crafts old world feel. The other thing we did when I had a good buddy of mine that I grew up with, has a TV show called Restored on Magnolia Network, you might have seen, Brett Waterman. We grew up together and I had him come up because we wanted to kind of change the layout of the bathroom. So we'll post some before pictures of the bathroom. You'll kind of see the shower was real small. Then there was a big whirlpool tub, but the whirlpool tub, you know, if you've had one, they break and then, you know, the grime and stuff builds up in them, and when you fill them with water, stuff comes out of the old jet hole. So we wanted to get rid of that, get rid of the small shower, but we didn't really know how to reconfigure the bathroom to make it more functional, give us more space. So Brett, who's a master at laying out, changing rooms, moving walls, figuring out how things go, came up, and one of the things he pointed out was, you know, we needed to get rid of the archways. So one of the things we did in all of the doorways through here, and we'll be doing that throughout the house, was to change the header and the casings around the doors to give us more of that arts and crafts feel and to make the house feel like it's more of the arts and crafts era. So originally our house was 1,300 square feet, and it was just a 1950s post-war house. So we added 2,600 square feet onto it, turned it into an arts and crafts bungalow, and on the exterior and then on the interior, we've slowly been doing stuff to bring it up to that. So this was one of the things we wanted to do to bring it up to that arts and crafts era. So we got rid of all the arches, closed those in. I built all of the casing and headers so that we had that look. As we move back here, You can see back behind me here, here's our dressing mirror, so you can see how this is based off of the Blacker House mirror that we just saw in the staircase. So this here is just a blown up version of the Blacker House mirror. So you can see we've got the same ebony plugs. My wife didn't really want the leather strapping in here, so I took out the slots for the leather strapping and just mounted it to the wall. So here we have a dressing mirror. So when you saw the before pictures, you probably saw that this area here was open before. So this wall didn't exist. It went all the way back, and there was a makeup table in the back there. So when you walked into the foyer here, there was a makeup table on the back wall, and then you could either go into the bathroom here, or you could go into the master closet. So what we did when Brett came up, he asked my wife, do you really use that makeup table? And she said, no, I've never used it for that purpose. It's basically just collect stuff. So what we did was, in talking to him, he was like, well, if that space isn't used, why don't you push the bathroom into there, and then that'll give you more room on the other side. So that's what we did. I walled this off here, and the shower actually is in this area now. It comes back behind here. So when we go into the bathroom, you'll kind of see the new layout. But Blacker House mirror here, one of the things we did was put in a 5-panel door here so that there's a little more privacy for the bathroom. Like I said, you used to come in and all this was open. But, you know, now bedtime, someone's trying to sleep, someone wants to take a shower, now you can come in, close the door, and you're not going to disturb your better half that's trying to sleep. So before we jump into the bathroom real quick, I want to point out the chandelier that we hung in here. So this is a lighting fixture from Old California Lighting. They did this fixture for me. The only thing I did on this one was I built a big round cherry wooden plate that goes under the light. There used to be a can light there, so again we got rid of the can light and brought in the more historical lighting. So that's what we did in here, and you'll see the same thing in the bathroom. We got rid of the can lights and we brought in more historical lighting into the room instead of having that real modern can light look. So let's go take a look. So as we come into the bathroom, if you looked at the pictures that we had from before, it's changed substantially. So in one of the prior videos, I know there was a picture of the Gamble House bathroom, and that's pretty loosely what this is based on. Well, I shouldn't say pretty loosely, it's what I based this bathroom off of. Aunt Julia's bathroom in the Gamble House has these same type of fixtures, the same type of mirror. However, those ones in the original were medicine cabinets where the mirror actually opened. My wife didn't want that. I did build a version of that for Old California that's going to be available. That's this model, but this center here where the portion is, where the mirror is, opens up and it's a big medicine cabinet. So that's the main difference between this and the original. And the originals are painted and this is all cherry. So typically a lot of the Greene Greene stuff's done in sapele or in African mahogany. My wife didn't want real dark woodwork in here, so you'll notice that from the mirror out in the foyer to the mirrors in here, the lighting fixtures, the vanity, the overhead light, it's all done in cherry. Keep it a little bit lighter, but still have that natural wood instead of all the painted wood. So the mirrors here in cherry, the lighting fixtures I made, again, these are modeled right after the ones out of the Gamble House. And then my idea with the vanity was to model it after a series of furniture by one of my mentors, Daryl Peart. So he has a series of furniture called the Aurora series, and it's based off of a bridge in Seattle called the Aurora Bridge, and it has a long arch to it. So you'll see, we'll post another picture here, the actual arch that carries through it, but that's kind of what I modeled this after. All the doors are inset. The drawers here, we wanted to keep them a little more modern with some undermount soft close slides, so that's what we did. They have soft close slides on them. But one of the hallmarks of the Greene Greene furniture, you'll see especially if you go to the Gamble House or one of the other houses, is the finger jointed drawers. So I wanted to keep that finger jointed drawer look. So in order to do that, I just made some faux ends for my drawer fronts that I made. That way from the outside, when the drawers are closed, you get that historic arts and crafts look of the finger jointed drawers. And again, ebony pegging on the face frames at all the joints. Again, our doors, inset doors, And again, kept them a little more modern, soft close hinges. And then the pulls on them are modeled after some pulls that you may see if you ever visit the Huntington Library. They have some of the original Gamble House furniture. These are called ribbon pulls. They kind of mimic the look of a ribbon when it's folded up, and that's where that comes from. So I made those for that, and that's the idea behind the vanity. Again, we've got dual sinks. It's a 10-foot wall, so plenty of room. So you'll see in the original pictures when they were posted earlier, the shower used to be in this corner here, and then there was a tub. So what we did was we pulled the shower out, and like I said, when Brett came up and helped us lay it out, the shower was moved over here. We'll swing around in a minute and get a look in there. Then we had the room. Since we moved the shower, we had the room and put in a 6-foot soaking tub. Most tubs are 5 feet. Because of the room we had afforded, by moving everything around, it allowed us to put in a 6-foot soaking tub. I'm 6 foot tall, so it allows me to actually sit in there like an adult and get under the water. Left a little area here. I'm going to be building the bench area here to be able to put towels and some other stuff on. Again, we did subway tile throughout the whole room. Brought the subway tile up to the level of this belly band that runs around the room. Again, you can see the casing up here above the window. We ran that same type of header casing that we did on all the doors. So then if we go ahead and pan up, you'll see the lighting fixture that we put in here. Like I said, we got rid of all the can lights. We brought in this chandelier. This is a reproduction of one of the chandeliers from the Duncan Irwin house. So again, all the electrical portions and the glass came from Old California Lighting. I built the lighting fixture along with all of the other woodwork in here. Behind me is just the toilet room. Again, went 4 foot high on the wainscoting with the tile in there. Everything's subway tile. So if you go ahead and come on in, we'll swing around and I'll show you the shower. So as we come back into this corner here, you'll see this is where we move the shower to. Again, it goes in the door here and then back behind that wall that we put up where the makeup table used to be. So by doing that, we got a shower here that's almost 6 feet by 3 feet. The old shower was about 3 feet by 3 feet, so we effectively doubled the depth of our shower. And again, it's all subway tile all the way up to the top. Put in not just the shower valve here, but I put in a diverter here so that in the other corner here, could put a hand shower that can be turned and turned off separately. For my wife, put in a bench here for her to be able to sit at, and then there's a couple of niches tiled into the wall over here for soap and shampoo and that type of stuff. So with the subway tile, it helps keep that whole arts and crafts aesthetic and make the house fit into the genre of what we're trying to do. Hey everybody, so I hope you like the tour. I hope you picked up a few things, maybe some ideas for your own bathroom or your own remodel or cabinetry, whatever the case may be. If you're looking for Greene & Greene cabinetry, hit us up, or any type of cabinetry for that matter, but especially any type of arts and crafts or Greene & Greene. That's really what we specialize in. So if you have any questions about what you saw today or you have any comments, go ahead and go down to the comments section below and drop those in there. Please like and subscribe. It helps us out. It'll help us keep the channel going. We really like doing this and bringing you information and stuff that, there's not a lot of stuff out there about Greene & Greene or arts and crafts. If you Google a lot of YouTube videos, you're not going to find much about Greene & Greene. So like us, subscribe, tell your friends. See you next week.